Hi. So as you can see, Sludge is still with us, but she had to have a little nap. So I want to ask people out there if they've ever heard of a man named Colton Stock. Okay? Now, Colton Stock is now deceased, but he murdered a disabled man, a deaf man, in 2019, and dismembered his body, and all they found was the man's torso. They've never found the rest of his body parts, okay? And this is a known fact. Colton admitted to it in his statements to the police, and he claims it was self-defense, okay? He claims it was self-defense, but this man was like twice his size, okay? He claims that the guy broke in his back door and had a gun, and he somehow wrestled the gun away from this man twice his size. But then, after he shot him twice, he was unable to move his body by himself. But you overpowered him for the gun? That makes no sense to me, first of all. And so, what he decided to do was take a woman on a date to Home Depot to get a Sawzall so he could dismember the body and cut it up so he could move it. Well, and I'm telling you this for a fact, I will swear it on the Bible and testify in court, that Damien Duncan told me back in 2019 when this happened, and I had no idea who Colton was. But he was telling me this story, I think it was on his conscience, how Colton came by the house, him and Travis's house, where they still live today, and told them about the body, and wanted Travis to come help him move it. Travis was going to go. Damien told me. This is what Damien Duncan told me. He said Travis was going to go with him, Amanda. And I told him, hell no, you're not, And, but yeah, Travis was going to go help Colton get rid of this guy's body, but Damien talked him out of it. Thank your brother for that, Travis. That would have been a bad idea. And you're good at bad ideas, we know. But, so Damien, tells him no, whatever. But still, they knew this dude had a dead body, and they didn't report it, yet they call the police on me and make multiple false reports, stage entire incident scenes, and I get cited for them. But they didn't bother to report the fact that they knew a dude had a dead body, because he's their cousin-in-law, He has a child with their cousin or something, so somehow that makes him their cousin-in-law. Whatever. So, anyway, this other man, Floyd, who has witnessed the whole thing, ends up getting killed too. Because, Damien and Travis failed to report that they knew Colton had this body he was trying to get rid of. And so Colton ends up cutting the body up, I guess, with a Sawzall. And then the police come, whatever, at some point. You can look it up on the Missouri court's website. It's all, his whole appeal and stuff's on there. So then he sets the torso on fire. So his aunt, who lives next door or whatever, calls the police because there's a fire. So they come and they find this torso, and he confesses all this stuff to him. And so why would someone, if you shoot an intruder in your home in self-defense, why would you not call the police and report that you shot an intruder? Why would you try to get rid of the body and dismember it? Okay, first of all, that right there is like, how is that self-defense? But here's the kicker. Colton beat the murder count at trial. Now, this is in Clay County, Missouri, and Clay County doesn't play around. And somehow he beat the murder charge in Clay County and only got charged with, dismemberment of a corpse or abandoning a corpse and armed criminal act or something. But he only did 4 years in prison. 4 years. That's all this man did for dismembering a deaf man's body and setting the torso on fire. And to this day, they still have not found the rest of that man's body parts. His family does not know where they're at. They still don't have that entire closure, other than the fact that Colton himself was murdered in January, and I'll get to that here in a minute. So, he beats the murder count, only does 4 years in prison, right? And, Damien had told me this story back in 2019. So I'm like, dang, that's messed up. Travis was going to go help him, and this guy dismembered this disabled man, So I'm thinking this guy's probably, he's At the time, I'm like thinking he's never going to get out again, you know? He might get the death penalty for that. 4 years later, September of 2024, last year, I go into Antoinette's bar, or Squirrely's bar now, I'm sorry. Damien's in there with Tim Simsizer and this other dude with glasses that I've never seen before. So I go sit down at their table, I start drinking their beer, eating their food. And I looked over at Colton and I said, "Who the hell are you?" It's like, "I'm CJ." Well, I was like, who is this guy? Anyway, Damien proceeded to like strangle me twice and try to kill me behind Squirrely's bar that night. Colton saw the whole thing, whatever. It was ridiculous. Like, and of course I can't report that to the KCPD because they don't take reports from me, right? So anyway, then it occurred to me after a while who Colton was, right? So I was like appalled that this man who dismembered a disabled man, and I have a developmentally disabled cousin, and so this really like hit a sore spot with me. For like somebody to dismember a disabled person is just really super fucked up, okay? So I keep seeing like this dude out with Damien and Travis, Damien mainly, at the bar, at the casino, at the liquor store, you know, out kicking it, having a good time, getting high. Meanwhile, Matthew Calkins' family still doesn't have the rest of their son's body parts and doesn't have that entire closure. Colton was just out here running around, you know, kicking it, like I said, doing whatever he was doing, you know, having fun. That's fucked up, okay? So it made me mad. I'm going to honestly tell you, it made me mad. And so every time I see him, I'd record him. And then in January of this year, due to Damien and Travis and another woman, I think, had something, it had a lot to do with it also. I won't mention her name right now. Eventually I might. Colton came here on January 8th to my house, and he came here like 3 or 4 times when I was at work, and he tried to break in my house. I don't care what anybody says. You can hear him on the security camera footage, which I could post, because you can't see the front door, but you can hear him. He went into my carport, and then you hear him trying to like jimmy my doorknob. I think because I had a friend staying with me at the time, and he had multiple cars, and I haven't had multiple cars. And there was cars here still, and nobody was answering the door. I don't know if he was getting mad because he thought that somebody was here and nobody was just answering because there was cars here. But, so he came and tried to break into my house, right? So I reported it to his parole officer because, like, this dude's a weirdo, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to break in my house. So she is like, "Please, go file a police report." So I went and filed a police report. So 1 week later, Colton turns up dead. Now, I've heard conflicting information about this, actually, about the circumstances surrounding what happened that day. I know that I got a call the next day after he was killed from Damien Duncan, who was the first person, according to the facts that I know, to know that Colton was dead. Now, how would Damien know Colton was dead before his own mother even did? That's what I've been told. But Damien claims his probation officer called him and told him that Colton was dead. So, Damien proceeds to text me and call me while I'm at work. Well, I hear my phone going off, you know, I'm out in the warehouse, doing whatever. So I take a break and I read his text and it says, Colton and 2 other people were shot and killed, or something like that. I just want to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, what? Is he trying to, you know, play games or whatever? And then I see he called too. So I call him back. And he's like, Colton was shot and killed yesterday. And so were 2 other people. There was not 2 other people that were shot and killed. That was really weird too. And he was like, "Did you have something to do with it?" I said, "No, I was at work all day. They can check that out if they want to, you know, whatever. Did you have something to do with it?" is what I asked him. Because the individual woman I'm talking about had told me that Colton and Damien were kind of having beef before he died. Damien actually told me that he was getting tired of Colton coming over there all the time and like trying to hang out or whatever because he's getting on his nerves. And so anyway, Damien asked me if I have something to do with it. Yeah, okay, I'm at work all day, buddy. Doesn't have nothing to do with me. But what do you know about it? Why were you the first person that even knew he was dead before his mom? And then I'll get to the other whole part of that thing that I heard from the individual woman that I'm speaking of, who is quite a case of, I don't know. But I would like to get to the bottom of this whole entire thing, because I have always been entirely pissed off that these douchebags didn't report a murder that they knew took place and a dude that had a body he was trying to get rid of. But you're going to make up false incident scenes about me? Really? Stage entire incident scenes? Oh, and let me mention this part too. So at that time, when Colton did the murder, Sergeant Skinner was a homicide detective then. He was a homicide detective for the KCPD. Now, if they didn't feel comfortable running to the police like they do about every other thing, every time they think they see a white car, they call 911, you couldn't call your brother and at least report it to him? Why not? Like, I don't know. If I know some weirdo's got a dead body that they're trying to get rid of, and he's like, especially if it's a disabled man, and Damien told me that the dude really didn't try to break into the house, that Colton just wanted to rob him for his drugs or his money or whatever. Damien Duncan told me that. I will testify on the Bible, on my word, my white skin. Damien told me that Colton was trying to rob the guy. The guy wasn't trying to, like, break in the house and shoot him or whatever. Colton wanted to rob him. And that's why he shot him. And then claimed self-defense. Yeah, right. I mean, he couldn't even drag the torso once he cut the rest of it up. Now, I promise y'all, Colton wasn't a very big guy. He was kind of a little scrawny dude. I could drag a 225 pounds of dead weight for a surprisingly long distance. You'd be surprised. I could do it. I mean, you all saw me push that car down the driveway, right? So, I mean, what kind of little wimpy weirdo was this guy anyway? But, yeah. I'm going to get to the other part about what maybe happened to Colton. Well, I don't know. There's some mysterious things surrounding his murder as well that I've been told that I'd like to get to the bottom of, because I like to know the truth. And, you know, one of my missions on my channel here is to get to the truth. So, if y'all don't know about the story of Colton Stock, I suggest that you Google search Colton Stock, Kansas City, Missouri, or Clay County, Missouri, however, and also search Matthew Calkins, who is the man that he dismembered, the deaf man. And I feel really bad for that man's family, because they still don't have the rest of their son's body parts, and Colton's dead now. But I think I know some other people who might know where the body parts are, and if you do, you should tell the police so that man's family can have full closure. You should tell them. That's the right thing to do. But you probably won't do it because you're bad people. But stay tuned for part 2, because it's pretty interesting too. Pretty sick and weird if you ask me, but that's what it is out here. Sick, weird liars and whatever. It's okay, Svetlana. The Russian assassin is on the case. I'm just kidding. I'm not assassinating anyone. They're trying to assassinate me. What are you talking about? I'll see y'all later.